Story 1. I have found the key is the opposite. Identify when someone is not attracted to you. Those signals are much easier to read. Story 2. Honestly, you can never know. Some women are very caring and friendly to everyone. Others are flirtatious without meaning anything by it. Some will shut down when they have a crush and make you feel like you did something wrong. I have seen the extremes and everything in between. Story 3. Unless they explicitly say so, I assume they are not. Story 4. Eye contact, laughing at every joke, touching, finding an excuse to be near you. These are all things I realized 2 to 3 days after they happened. Just tell us, ladies. Story 5. If you figure it out, let me know. I've had one-night stands with women I didn't flirt with at all, been rejected by women who were sitting on my lap and stroking my hair, been in relationships with women I had nothing in common with, and been disliked by women who seemed a perfect match. Dating feels like playing hockey with a set of golf clubs. Story 6. I am still not convinced that my wife of 21 years is attracted to me, but I have a hunch. Story 7. You give them a note that says, "Do you like me?" and ask them to circle yes or no. This has been working for 30 years. Story 8. Usually you cannot. You just guess, panic, and overthink it for 3 days. Story 9. Altogether, they are highly engaged, have welcoming body language, make light physical contact, and try to keep the encounter going. A little trick I used when I was single, if I was not certain of their interest, was to disengage and see their reaction. Those who were attracted would try to preserve the interaction or regain your attention later. For example, at a party I stepped away to use the bathroom. She approached me later to continue the conversation. This is why I encourage men to talk to women they like. The information is all there. Story 10. I can't, at least not reliably. That's why I ask my wife to weigh in with her assessment. Story 11. The best tip is to check how she behaves with other men. If she is very friendly with you but also with every other man, she is probably not into you. Being nice is not flirting. Story 12. The best I have been able to tell is that if she looks for reasons to spend time with me, shows interest in my life and hobbies, remembers my preferences, respects my boundaries, appears happy when she wakes up next to me, and wants to introduce me to her family and friends, there is a chance she is attracted to me. Story 13. I cannot access external links. Please paste the text or transcript here. I will then correct spelling, expand all acronyms, remove meaningless repetition and special characters, fix punctuation, remove links, and return only the clean text suitable for Azure text-to-speech. Do you want each acronym expanded every time or expanded once with the acronym in parentheses? Also confirm preferred English variant. American or British? Story 14. Laughing at shit jokes that aren't funny at all. This becomes more obvious in a group. If she's the only one laughing, chances are you're in there. Story 15. She says she is into me. Otherwise, I have blinders on. I do not need to be the topic of their group chat. Story 16. The power of hindsight. I know exactly when a girl likes me 3 months later. Story 17. When you try to kiss her and she backs away, that is proof she was not attracted to you. Story 18. It is impossible. Either ask them out or do not. Story 19. I just assume they are not unless she explicitly tells me. There are too many risks in assuming. Story 20. I can tell if she likes you. She tries to get her issues resolved only by you despite other people. She laughs at your jokes, and she smiles when you make eye contact. I have liked a few girls in my life. They did these things with the guys they liked and ended up with them. That is how I know. Story 21. She will go out of her way to enter your personal space. She does this frequently when she is interested in someone, and we often do not notice. Story 22. Thanks Hellascold for creating a too long did not read guide to this thread in 2016. 1. If someone makes a lot of eye contact or avoids eye contact, they may be interested, disinterested, or neutral. Pay attention but do not overinterpret. 2. Watch speech patterns. Frequent conversation may indicate interest or friendliness. Avoiding conversation could indicate shyness or lack of interest. 3. In text messages, Prompt responses can signal interest or simply a talkative person. Slow responses do not always mean disinterest. 4. If someone stares at you, they likely have some feeling about you. Interest, dislike, curiosity, or simply finding you unusual. Use this information cautiously. Signals are ambiguous. Good luck. Story 23. When I was in my mid-20s, I started hanging out with a woman who wanted to just be friends. We met almost every week for more than 6 months. She had developed feelings for me a few months in, but I had no idea. One night, I decided to take a chance and asked her out. She said, "I wasn't sure if you were even still into me like that. We've been together ever since." Story 24. I cannot. I need to be told directly rather than having to play a guessing game. Story 25. You discover that they are not, or that they used to be but are no longer. It is a quantum law. Story 26. If she says ooga booga 3 times and flaps her arms like a chicken, anything before that is just speculation. Story 27. When I was a kid, we were taught consent as no means no. Today, I teach my boys that anything less than an enthusiastic yes means no. That is a good thing. Neither subtle nor obvious hints can be assumed to indicate interest. If you are interested, be enthusiastic and unambiguous. Story 28. I remember trying to kiss a woman because I thought she wanted me to, but she backed away. Later that same day, she made strong eye contact and licked her lips as we were saying goodbye, but I chickened out. Sometimes it's mostly chance, and making a move can go either way. Story 29. If her ankles are by your ears, you know she likes you. Story 30. Often they become quiet. They can be loud and talkative around men they do not care about, but when they are with a man they consider a good match, they become silent. Story 31. Good question. Let us try a new approach. Women of Reddit, am I attractive? Story 32. You work it out. About 7 years later, you remember the girl who was always friendly but with whom you have lost contact. Story 33. I don't anymore. I'd rather be alone than add any more embarrassing memories that randomly flash into my head throughout my life. Story 34. I've heard that if you tell a woman you are going to change something about your appearance, for example that you will cut your hair or trim your facial hair a certain way, you can see whether she cares or expresses an opinion. How she reacts will be your sign. Story 35. I have been relatively successful in my pursuits in recent years, and honestly it is the simple things. If she is excited or happy to be around you, makes excuses to spend time with you, or is willing to be alone and vulnerable with you, it is typically a good sign that you are at least viewed favorably. That said, the depth of that attraction is usually the real question. You would be surprised how effective awkward, playful flirting can be. Be direct. If you are confident and secure and you take care of yourself, attracting people should not be that difficult. Story 36. Easy. No human would ever find me attractive, so I already know they do not. Story 37. First, I never assume a girl is into me. Some girls are very friendly, some are flirtatious, and some are great listeners who keep the conversation going. I am a decently good-looking guy, or so I have been told. Over the years, I noticed a few signs with girls who I thought liked me that turned out to be true. 1. They go out of their way to make conversation with me. If it is at work, they will come find me just to talk about whatever. That does not necessarily mean they like me, but it is a start. 2. They find any excuse to touch me, such as touching my arm while laughing or placing a hand on my shoulder when asking a question. 3. They seem genuinely interested in me and my life. 4. They initiate or reciprocate plans to hang out. At gatherings of friends or coworkers, they want to be around me most of the time. 5. Some simply tell me they are interested. Most do not, and of the few who do, I was often not interested. I felt bad, but I could not lie to them or pretend otherwise. Story 38. She tries to shorten the distance between us. She goes on dates, texts, sends messages, and does everything to meet face to face. By contrast, uninterested girls may smile but never take steps to meet. They are simply not interested enough. Story 39. I have been married for 23 years, and I am still trying to figure out whether my wife likes me. Story 40. Some things I have noticed that are not 100% indicators. 1. Their eyes return to your face more often than anyone else's while in a group setting or conversation. 2. They glance between your eyes and your lips frequently and almost imperceptibly fast. 3. They laugh at your jokes, even the unfunny ones. 4. This is circular, but if you do something impressive in front of them early on, it can secure respect. Women tend to be more hypergamous and, on average, care less about looks than men. There is nuance. This refers to averages, not every individual. Biologically, they often look for the best partner and present and future access to resources, which places value on intelligence as well. If you are reasonably attractive, well-groomed, attentive to hygiene, and friendly, and you impress them relative to others, there is a strong chance you have ignited some attraction. For me, it was in college. At the start of term, there was a confusing chemistry problem on the board. I put my hand up, explained the answer, then solved it on the board. I still have no idea why. It just came to me, and it was easier to write than explain. Little did I know this secured respect early on. Story 41. They touch your arm or shoulders when talking with you. They giggle and laugh at your bad jokes. They want to come along when you are going somewhere. They make things easier for you instead of making your life harder. They try to help if you are struggling with something. They expect your input when they have a new hairdo or new clothes. They try to be close to you. For example, if you are at work, they frequently visit. They remember stories you told. When talking to their friends, they always mention you or repeat something you said. They align their opinions with yours. Even when they disagree, they let it slide and act agreeable. They keep asking what you do in your free time and want to know what you are up to when you are not with them. They ask if you have a girlfriend and inquire about your astrological sign to check compatibility. They say things like, "I wish you were there." They invite you to hang out with their friends and tease you in a playful way. They make plans with you well ahead of an event. They presume things about your love life or family to get you to talk about those topics. They want to get to know that side of you. Story 42. I have never asked a woman out without first hearing from a friend that she had asked about me. So I cannot tell and do not try to interpret the signs. Story 43. Women are often easy to read. They express interest openly, not always with words. They may show up where you are, stay close, try to spend time together, and invite you places even with vague plans like saying they will do something sometime. Some laugh a lot around you. Many will stare, and they are usually aware that their staring is noticeable. If you have doubts, she is probably not attracted to you, but that does not mean she never will be. Not everyone has the looks that attract on the spot. Most men need to earn interest over time, so a lack of instant attraction is not a reason to give up. Story 44. Everyone is different. Compare how she acts toward other people with how she acts toward you. Story 45. I'm no Casanova, but what I have learned is that they will make time for you. It should not feel like pulling teeth. Like all rules, there are always exceptions, but with girls who were really interested in me, this always seemed to be the case. It was an eye-opener for someone who had been used to one-sided, unrequited love. The girl who later became my first serious girlfriend in college used to talk about movies with me. I would say I had not seen a film, and she would reply that she had not seen it either. She did that at least twice before it clicked. I asked cautiously if we could see it with two friends from our group unless she was thinking just the two of us. As it turned out, she was. Once I was hanging out at a bar with some people and a friend of a friend seemed to take a shine to me. When we were all leaving, she asked where I was headed. And when I told her, she said that it was on her way. Earlier that evening, I had mentioned how my roommate and I had turned a spare room into a music room, and she used that as an excuse to see it. She then kept inviting me to other things until we were finally open with each other about our feelings. It did not quite work out, but being openly pursued by someone is an amazing ego booster. I remember reading something similar. When someone is into you and something funny happens, they will look at you. The first girl I mentioned used to do that all the time, and it was strange because she sat a row ahead of me. I initially thought she was just looking in my direction because I sat with our friend group, But when I told them how I felt about her, they said that they had known it and that she was always looking at me in class. Story 46. Speaking as a woman, there are tells, or maybe it is just me, in the way someone smiles at you. In all honesty, my tone of voice changes when I find someone attractive. It becomes slightly higher. My eyes change too. I usually smile when I look at someone and maintain eye contact. Everyone is different, so that is just my experience. Story 47. 1. She makes time out of a busy schedule to talk to you at work. 2. She laughs at things you say that are not funny. 3. Whenever you walk into a room, she smiles and makes eye contact. Story 48. Every girl I have ever known who was attracted to me outside of a dating app either had a friend tell me or made a move so blatant it was obvious. Here are a few examples. Kiss me, you idiot. If I were you, I would date me. Another example was a woman who, after getting buzzed, literally dry humped me the first time we were alone, which left little doubt. Story 49. I'm not a man, but I never liked games. I always told any man I was interested in that I was, unless there was a reason not to. In fact, that's how I ended up married. I've been through a lot, and I'm not a fan of wasting time. Story 50. Is she in alignment with you? Are you on the same wavelength? Are you both present when you interact? Story 51. That's the neat part. Normally I didn't. At least when I was single I couldn't. Here is the best list I've seen lately because I notice people checking me out more now. 1. If you make eye contact, act surprised. Instead of looking for why you made eye contact or looking away, they will move their eyes to check you out. You can see them get flustered, as if they were flattered. 2. They notice if you look at them multiple times. They know they have your attention. If they start acting playful, you may catch them looking at you too. But give them time to sneak glances. 3. When you start talking to someone and their demeanor changes, they probably like you. If they get excited or suddenly awkward, that is a sign. 4. If women like you, they often do not mind your initial awkwardness. They will usually help you out and offer conversational life rafts. If they do, accept the help. If you are still nervous, give a light, flirty compliment and say how they make you feel. 5. If someone keeps trying to extend the conversation, match them and keep it going. They want to know you more. This may not be flirting. People want friends and moments of camaraderie. It is a great way to build conversation skills. 6. If they tell you things about themselves without prompting, as if trying to sell themselves, they are likely interested. If they volunteer random facts about what they do, rather than sharing things you already have in common, that is often flirting. 7. Have a good attitude and give people you are interested in time and space to look at you and tell you about themselves. Seek eye contact in visual exchanges. Tell people how you feel and acknowledge what they are feeling. Be humble. That will get you farther than trying to play too cool. If any vibe feels off, let go and move on. Story 52. 1. Physical proximity. If a woman likes you, she may invade your personal space and be more touchy. People rarely do this with someone they are not attracted to. 2. Eye contact. This applies to both sexes. If she maintains prolonged eye contact, she may be attracted to you. 3. Laughing. If she laughs at your unfunny jokes, she may like you. 4. Hair twirling. If she plays with or twirls her hair while talking to you, it can be a subconscious sign of attraction. 5. Compliments. This applies to both sexes but can be misconstrued, so look for other signs as well. Story 53. A woman sitting across from me said she wanted to have sex with me. It was awkward because her husband sat beside her. Story 54. She sticks a finger into your ass while looking deep into your eyes and smiling. Story 55. I have been married for 5 years and have 2 children. I am still not entirely sure, to be honest. Story 56. I have no idea. If I suspect any attraction, I immediately roll over and play dead like an opossum. Usually they will just go away, but occasionally they will poke me with a stick to see if I am really dead. Story 57. I am not good at this, but I like to think that if I can make her laugh often, she probably likes me. Story 58. It is like Schrodinger's cat. You will only know once you make a move. Story 59. In my experience, women who like you tell you either bluntly or subtly and use plain language to ask to spend time together. They do not leave things to chance like men. Most are direct with men they like. Story 60. They cannot, which is why women should never smile or be friendly to a man. Story 61. Actually, it is better to ask women about this. Most men are a bit slow to tell whether a woman likes them. I can tell because many men assume a woman likes them simply because she is being nice. Story 62. I thought I had found someone who liked me. I married her. She doesn't find me attractive, but she finds me safe enough to let me live in her house as long as I do not get too close to her. Story 63. I am 55 years old. I have pretty much always been wrong either way. You cannot tell. Story 64. If they are responsive when messaging, they reply within a few hours or at least the same day. If it takes 2 to 3 days for them to respond because they were busy, they are almost certainly not interested. Story 65. How do I know whether a girl is interested in me? Easy. I just assume she is not. Nard dog. Story 66. I am autistic. I recognize someone is attracted to me when they tell me. That is all. Story 67. Men do not call women girls. By the way, grow up, respectfully, spoken like an older brother or uncle. Simple. She replies quickly, agrees to meet, and is willing to spend real time together, not texting, online, or on the phone. She does not make your life hard and is agreeable. Anything outside that is just a time waster. A woman can still like you and not meet all those things, but do you really want someone who does not want to see you or who says no when you ask her out? Choose the one who shows it through actions, not just words. Every woman I've dated made it easy for me to pursue her, and I tried to do the same. It is the sweetest thing when it is mutual and very frustrating when it is not. Story 68. Flirting is not always a sign of attraction. Some women are naturally flirtatious. How you respond can affect how attractive you appear to certain women. Everyone is different. Story 69. In my experience, the most important thing is effort. Some people text quickly while others take longer to respond, but what matters is whether she makes time to see you. When she is with you, is she present? Does she ask about you and remember small details? People get too caught up in online conversations and forget that true connection is built in person. Body language and presence are key. Story 70. Oh, that's easy. You wait 5 years, and then, as you lie down to go to sleep, you realize the girl had actually been flirting with you. Story 71. What is a girl? Are they those guys at the gym who are not jacked? Story 72. Make plenty of eye contact, and she will be interested in learning more about you. Story 73. She will giggle around you and fix her hair without even noticing it. Story 74. I usually get nervous. Often it is the way she slowly strokes her hair. That is a pretty good sign. Is she pointing her toes toward you? Is she leaning in? Does she keep glancing at you while these other signs are present? Does she expose her neck and tuck her hair behind her shoulder? If you tell a ridiculously dumb joke, does she laugh? Does she mention a boyfriend or husband in the opening conversation? If so, you are probably making her uncomfortable. When she laughs, do her eyes immediately go to you? Does she mirror your body language? Are her pupils dilated when she looks at you but normal when she looks away? Does she seem anxious? Is she subtly pushing her chest out? Look at the unconscious signs, not the conscious ones. Women often give lukewarm signals, but the human body usually betrays its intentions unconsciously. Story 75. Energy, love, respect, and communication are reciprocated without asking. Story 76. Obvious signs include texting you incessantly, laughing at your jokes, and touching you. A less obvious sign is this. If you see a stranger at a bar and have been sitting in a particular spot, go to the bathroom. When you finish, do not return to your seat right away. Instead, remain out of sight where you can still watch. If they keep looking toward your seat or scanning the area, they are likely physically attracted to you. Story 77. How do you know? When you asked her to go on a date, she said yes. Story 78. You ultimately have two options: guess and risk being wrong, or wait for confirmation that may never come. Story 79. I do not know, but women apparently cannot tell when I am attracted to them either. If I go out of my way to talk to a woman, it means I am attracted to her. I keep that private. Story 80. At the gym, someone chooses the treadmill next to you despite there being more than 5 other empty, fully functional treadmills available. Story 81. You would be better off asking women how they know other women are attracted to them. Men are fucking idiots in that manner. That includes me. Story 82. When they reveal to you that they are not wearing underwear. Story 83. When they put everything aside to hang out with you, say la guerre. Story 84. If she looks at you the same way I look at a fresh bag of hot Cheetos, that's a pretty solid sign. Story 85. I told a man last night that I wanted to have sex with him, but in the morning when I was sober he had gone home while I was sleeping and later texted me about plans for another date. I don't really know what to do anymore. Laughing out loud. Story 86. When someone never cancels plans, always agrees to hang out, responds to your texts promptly, and goes out of their way to see you, they are showing interest. If someone cancels on you, especially if it happens more than once, it usually means they are not that interested. Story 87. One common sign is that they go out of their way to be around you or to talk to you. Story 88. I feel like I cannot tell if a person is into me unless they tell me, so I flat out ask, I find you attractive. Would you be interested in whatever you are looking for at this phase in your life? At that point, I am either rejected or accepted. I have been rejected enough that I can take it with grace. The first couple of times were pretty brutal, but it got easier each time. Story 89. We have good conversations, and she laughs at my stupid jokes. I ask her to join me in activities I enjoy one-on-one. Story 90. They show initiative or at least respond eagerly when it comes to texting. If you suggest plans and they have to turn them down, they usually suggest an alternative time or activity. None of the above is a surefire indicator of attraction, but a consistent absence of either is a strong indication of lack of interest. Some say that women often find reasons to spend time with someone and tend to be more tactile, but that depends on the person. I have not experienced this myself. Story 91. As a bartender who has observed how male customers interact with my female coworkers, I think most men are generally clueless. Story 92. Do not wait for a sign. A woman may take time to become attracted to someone. If you approach her and try to get to know her, things will go better. Approach women as people, not solely as individuals you are attracted to. Story 93. Subtle clues that I have picked up for different women include the following. She told me, mutual friends told me, she kissed my neck while we were dancing at a club. Story 94. Ask her if your gray sweatpants make your penis look bigger. Story 95. If she is single and makes an effort to spend time with you, she is likely interested. This is especially true if she adjusts her schedule to see you. Reciprocate by explicitly asking her on a date. If she says yes, she is definitely interested in you. Story 96. If she plays with her hair when she is talking to you, it is a very obvious sign. Story 97. As a socially awkward man, I have only ever been with women who manage to get the point across. In my experience, they know how to make that clear. Then again, I would never have learned how to get into a dating situation with a shy woman. Story 98. Pays attention to you, listens to you, agrees with you on every topic, and laughs often when around you. Story 99. It's hard to tell and I rarely get it right, but there is a different energy or vibe. It shows in tiny things. She will behave slightly differently, look at you a half second longer when talking, and engage with you in a different way. Even so, I do not always notice, and it is a shame. I wonder how many opportunities one missed. If any young men are reading this, I am only 40, so not that old. Ask her out. Be direct. Do not chase someone who only wants the chase. You will work hard for nothing. If she says no, move on. No matter how special she seems, there is always another special person out there. Story 100. If she is going out of her way to spend time with you, that is usually a good sign. For example, if she suggests hanging out one-on-one or remembers small things you mentioned. Story 101. I assume women do not find me attractive, but gay men certainly do. I have come to love it. Sadly, I am not attracted to other men. Story 102. I usually assume that if we are spending quality time together, including one-on-one time, then she is interested. I simply ask, what would you do if I kissed you right now? I kind of want to. I have been rejected before with this approach and we laugh it off. I might say, okay, now that is out of the way. I just wanted to make sure I was not missing any signals. But I am usually right. Story 103. As an introverted woman, if I like you, I will often ignore you. Talking to you makes my hands and voice shake, and the words I say become nonsensical. I am happily married now, but liking a boy used to be torture for me. The girl you like who is ignoring you might have intense feelings. She becomes an awkward, inarticulate mess around you and then disappears. Not confusing at all. Sorry. Story 104. This one is easy. If I act on it, she is absolutely not interested and is disgusted by the mere idea. If I do not act on it and only realize years later in the shower what was actually going on, only then was she interested. Hope this helps. Story 105. When they add extra letters in their texts. Good morning is good. Good morning. You are in trouble. Story 106. Usually for me it is when they text me first. It depends on how the conversation goes after that message and whether they consistently try to hang out. Story 107. My wife married me, so I think she is attracted to me. Aside from that, I have no clue. Story 108. I have been married for 10 years and have 2 children. I am still not sure whether she is attracted to me or just being nice. Story 109. I met my significant other at a picnic. She gave me some of her lemonade. 2 days later, she called after tracking down my phone number to say she thought she might have given me food poisoning. She had not, and I took that as a sign she liked me, so I asked her out. We are still together 28 years later, with 3 children and 3 dogs. Story 110. They look at you more because they enjoy the feeling they get when they see you. They make a point of treating you differently than others. For example, if someone tries to get their attention while they are with you, they will not engage as they normally would and will instead reaffirm that you have their attention. Story 111. When someone comes up to me and says that a girl likes me. Story 112. Touch her boob. If she likes you, she will let you touch the other one. If she does not, you will go to jail and get put on a list. It is the only way to be sure. It is how I found my wife. Now to go check in with my probation officer. Story 113. I had a woman tell me categorically she was not interested. A month later she told me she actually was. It had been a test to see how I would react. I don't speak to her anymore. Story 114. I'm 52. I've been married twice, had another long-term relationship, and have been with about 24 women. I have no idea. Story 115. Married for 20 years. At this point, if a woman isn't sitting on my face naked, I wouldn't know. This has not worked, but your mileage may vary. Story 116. Assume she is. Sometimes you will be right and sometimes you will not. But if you start believing it is a yes, you will act more confident and relaxed, and you will get more yes and more women attracted to you than if you believe she is not into you. Signs she is attracted. She goes on 3 or more dates with you. She texts you for several days. She invests time and effort. She asks you questions. She laughs with you and at your silly jokes, even when they are not funny. She initiates touch. She touches her neck or hair. She looks at your lips, and she points her foot toward you. Story 117. I am 85% sure my wife finds me attractive sometimes. Story 118. Usually about 2 years later, when I wake up in the middle of the night, I say, "You idiot! She was flirting with me." Story 119. If she gives you time, whether by answering your texts with more than 1 word or by showing up to what you planned, then she cares. Otherwise, you are basically just on the list of free validation. Story 120. Why do I see threads like this on a daily basis in this subreddit? Story 121. When she put my hand on my hip and I dipped, we dipped. Story 122. a signed and notarized affirmation. Alternatively, requests for oral sex are often considered trustworthy. Story 123. As a polarity-minded woman, my answer is this. If you flirt with her or show attraction and she does not recoil or pull her energy away, that means she is open to becoming attracted to you. It does not necessarily mean she is already attracted. Women's attraction usually develops more slowly than men's and often grows in response to feeling a man's interest first. Context matters. Is the person someone across the bar, or someone you see regularly at work or in a hobby group? It also depends on the person and how much she expresses feminine versus masculine energy. What I described above applies mainly to women who are predominantly in feminine energy. Story 124. They hold eye contact and initiate conversation. They seem interested in what you have to say. They smile and laugh at your jokes. They speak to you at length and offer details about themselves. If you make small talk and cannot get any of this to happen, recognize that they are not interested and move on. There is no shame in trying as long as you accept rejection. Story 125. In today's age of flirting for validation, it is hard to tell. I have heard stories about men and women who treat someone they are attracted to as if they are dating, but the moment the other person asks for clarification, they suddenly change. It is frustrating, but do not let those games get to your head. If you like someone, communicate. If they seem to lose interest, it probably was not going to work out anyway. Story 126. She tells me directly. It is that simple. For example, a woman approached my coworker and me at the bar where we work. She asked both of us questions and initiated the conversation, which might have suggested interest if I had been alone. However, she was a few months postpartum and was there with her boyfriend. She said so out loud. That is why I never assume a woman is into me, even if she initiates. I do not read signals well. Direct action is the only way to proceed. The cost of misreading is too great. Story 127. 10 years later, I wake up in a cold sweat with the realization that she was flirting. Story 128. My preferred method is to wait until she asks, "Are you going to kiss me or what?" or until she simply kisses you. Story 129. If she says, "Hey moron, I am attracted to you," there is a slight possibility she means it. Story 130. Good luck trying to understand women. Anyone here who claims they know how to tell if a woman likes them is either lucky, mistaken, or has not met many women. There will always be exceptions to the typical indicators of attraction because factors like evolving wants and needs, social norms, culture, and so on get in the way. Take any anthropology or human sexuality course and you will learn that ignorance is bliss. Do not worry about identifying signs that a woman likes you. Focus instead on being the kind of person the women you are interested in want to be around. Story 131. The eyes. Chico. They never lie. Said by somebody. I don't know. Story 132. When my wife of 28 years undressed for intimacy last night, I felt she might be attracted to me, but I worried I was misreading friendly signals. Story 133. I will repeat what I said in the girls "How do you know if a guy is attracted to you" thread. I will start by saying it is not rocket science. Many people think there must be some elaborate romantic dialogue or chance scenario where people suddenly realize their attraction, but it can be simple. If someone is interested in you, you will know. Attraction should not have you dithering, picking roses and saying, "She loves me. She loves me not." If you find yourself asking that question, the answer is almost always no. It is more noticeable than you think. Touch, proximity, and time. Do they touch you? Do they somehow always end up sitting near you? Do they spend more time with you than with others? If the answer is yes, they probably have more on their mind than being your buddy. The responsibility is also on you to show the same attraction. Sit with them, touch them, compliment them, see how they react and whether they reciprocate. It can be scary because it is a risk, but to quote Chris Eubank, "A man who risks nothing does nothing." You have to take that risk because the reward is greater than what you lose by bringing that attraction to the surface. There is no point keeping your cards close to your chest if you are just going to fold. You do not need to speak in some secret language of flirtation. Asking, "Do you want to make out?" works as well as anything else. Do not do that immediately. Take the time to see if the signs are there. It does not have to be rocket science. That is my definitive guide. I hope it helps you with the guy you are looking for. Go get him, soldier. Story 134. It's actually simple. Say something flirtatious. If she is attracted to you, she will smile. If not, she may report you for harassment. Story 135. It is different depending on the woman, and there will always be outliers. In no particular order based on my experience. Excess giggling at things that are only mildly amusing. Pupils appearing slightly larger than normal. Going out of her way to show she notices him. Sustained eye contact. Excessive fidgeting, especially with her hair, although it could be nerves. I look for combinations of the above. I never had an issue knowing if someone likes me after my early 20s of trial and error. I am also aware when someone is not attracted to me. Nobody can be everyone's cup of tea. Life is a learning experience, and there is always more to learn. Cheers. Story 136. I don't have the final answer, but if she stays close, make sure you see her, and stares, it could mean she is interested. An ex of mine kept looking at me in the gym. I noticed and thought I had done something wrong, but it turned out she liked me. Story 137. As a girl, to be honest, I do not purposefully show signs. I am more likely to look for signs that I do not like someone because they are much more obvious. Story 138. They will look for any opportunity to talk to you. She will give side glances as well. She wants you to notice her and to see whether you are looking. Story 139. I legitimately had a girl tell me once that she did not like me, that we were just friends, and I was fine with that. We ended up hooking up and dated for a while. It did not work out. I also went on a Hinge date with a woman who made it very clear we would not do anything sexual on the first date. She took me home and we had sex. She is my girlfriend now. You really never know. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.